recording today's journal as I walk around and do stuff. I won't be able to do the next part of, art and stuff like that. But I've learned quite a few lessons. Lesson number one. Why? Just hold my phone sideways. I don't know. It did not dawn on me for some reason until, I was done that if I hold my phone up like a phone, that the video is going to be vertical. So, yeah, of course. Yeah, okay. So next time, maybe tomorrow. Here's the thing. I started doing it on work days. So, if it's not tomorrow, the next part of going through old art will be on Monday. But yeah, I learned a few lessons. So yeah, gonna hold my phone sideways so it actually, it isn't vertical. But learned another thing, which is that phone video recording is not compressed at all. That video right there, see, I can record 2 hours of audio, no problem, and I can just stick it in Canva with absolutely no issue, and it'll run. I record like, what was it, like 50 minutes of video, and it is well beyond. I'm wondering, I can probably go into quality settings, right? In my video recording stuff, I can probably turn it down a little bit. Just a little bit. Because I finished recording that video pretty much as soon as, like, an hour after I got home from work. But it then took 9 hours to upload it. You see, I was going to edit it. I was going to cut it down into 2 parts because it was really long. I edited it down into 2 about 30, 25-minute segments. And, things like that. And then it turned out to be 6 gigabytes, which is well over what Canva can handle. And I had nothing that would accept the file to compress it or make it smaller. So I just had to download the YouTube Studio app onto my phone and just tell it to upload the file off my phone. So, yeah. So I'm thinking next time I'm probably gonna record in shorter segments, or just accept that it's gonna take 9 hours to upload that one video. So yeah. So learned a few things. Hold the phone sideways, and there we go. Record in shorter segments, maybe even like edit them together afterwards. It won't be that hard to just take the video files and just stack them next to each other, stick them next to each other. But, yeah. In terms of today, something always happens with the other person. I don't think I should always mention it every time. I will say this interaction was just the mother lode of the other person basically laying out their entire thought process right in front of me. Their accusations, labels, the way that they think, the way that they process everything, the way that they look at other people, think about them. It was like if you want like a snapshot, like a crash course about that person's thought process. It was all just laid out right in front of me, just right there. But anyway, yeah, so I think at this point, I wrote it down, I recorded it for myself. I'm just going to process that this time on my own time instead of, sharing it this time around. So, yeah, gonna leave that be. And, Kilua, most importantly of all, I'm not going in priority order, I'm going in order of the things that I'm recalling and remembering. But, oh, sorry, I'm thinking about that labeling name. All kinds of, like, labels, medicalization, all manner of disorder names getting thrown around. It was a whole thing. Anyway, I'll just leave that, not just towards me, but towards the other person's new boss, like all kinds of terms. Yeah, if you know, you know. At this point, if you've heard me talk about that, maybe I'll talk about it later, but not right now. Anyway, I can keep that to myself this time. So Killua is throwing me off this baby. You know what I was expecting? I was expecting something like Gone, where it was very clear that, the time was coming. Chronically ill, things like that. And that, it was going to be soon. The way he started to fade, the way his like vitality, his strength, his ability to do, basic things, just the way it all fell apart. It was very clear to me. But Killua, he is a little soldier, and they have different afflictions going on and different, conditions. With him, it's the kidney failure, but he is like, it really is just throwing me off center. Like I was expecting, yeah, but he's skinny, as he's like super skinny. He's super skinny right now. He's not weighing, but he's eating. He's got an appetite, not like a strong one. It still takes like hours and hours and hours before he'll eat something, but there's such like a strength in him still, a vitality, and like each day I'm processing the whole experience a little differently. On one day it's like, I don't mean this to sound cruel, it's just my emotions looking for that kind of like place to settle. So when he's on like a definite downward path, there is like a sense of relief. Not that he's gonna die, but because my emotions are able to settle into sort of like, okay, this is what I should prepare myself for. This is what But then, like, all of a sudden, he's getting better, and it's like, what? Not getting better. I should say, like, managed decline. But then he'll get strong, and then it'll be like, what? Oh, I thought he was, but now he's doing this. He's got a bit of strength, and it's like the back and forth of it is completely throwing me off. The way that it's playing out, but I felt so bad. I wanted to test myself. Like, no, I'm not relieved at the thought he's going to die and that it's going to be free of burden or something like that. So I tested myself. I said to myself, okay, this is over the weekend, not while I was working. But I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna sit here, and I'm going to wait, give it a little extra time, and then I'm going to go see him and see what my emotion is. Because keep in mind, like at this time, I was afraid each night that I'm gonna wake up and that he's gonna have passed away. So I was like, so I'm gonna give myself a little extra time, and I'm gonna go see what my reaction is. And then before my timer was up, he popped up and came and laid on me, and the relief I felt was not only relieving that he was still alive, but it was relieving that I was relieved. I was like, oh, okay. I am glad that he's alive. Good. I want to. Do you ever have that kind of moment where you want to test your true intentions? So you put a test for yourself to see how you react. I was relieved that I was relieved that he was still alive. It's like, okay, I do love my baby. I do. you know. I know that might sound silly. Or maybe it sounds reasonable. I don't know. But Yeah, so that occurred, and I was so relieved. And now he's it's like a little my I think I'm stabilizing now. I think now I'm getting more into the groove of just like, okay. So what I'm doing now, he does get skinnier each day. There's little thing. This is a managed decline. He's not going to just it's not going to be like gone with how quickly it was, with how this is going to be falling with style kind of process. But I'm going to get he's going to have moments of strength. He's still going to be vital. He's still going to have his personality. He's even still purring occasionally while he's like eating, and he laid on me all through the night. And yeah, I was so glad. I was so glad. And I came back home, and there he was, just like waiting for me right at the door. And I was like, oh, I keep getting worried that one thing I am a little worried about, and this is a little selfish of me. I am worried. I'm worried about the possibility that, like, say he comes to lay down on me, and then in the night, and then I wake up in the morning, and he's passed away on top of me. That that in part ways scares me at the possibility of that happening, but in part ways it's like, well, yeah. Wouldn't that be nice, though, if that were the case in the arms of a loved one? You see, with Gon, I was like, I was there up with him the entire time. And I didn't sleep when he passed away. I was awake, so I got to be there and hold him. And it was at a time where I was awake, and I got to hold him and keep him in my arms while it happened. So you know something similar with Killua. I'm not sure, but does that sound like a reasonable fear to have? But at the same time, it's like I could live with that. You know, I know it sounds selfish. He's the one in pain and going through that, but I do apologize to him that I'm being like, ew, icky, kind of thing. But at the same time, I think I would rather that, you know, than I would rather that than an alternative. Yeah. But in terms of work today, I'd say today was a rather fine showing. I feel like I'm really, really, really. I know I've said this before, but now I'm like really, even to the point. So here's what kind of told me this, and this was really special. I got there, and one of my coworkers came up when they saw me, and they said, "Thank goodness you're here." And I'm gonna tell you, I have never heard that in my entire life. I've never heard someone express that sort of like that my presence could have possibly uplifted the mood like that, or was a relief, or that they were happy I was there. No one in my entire life has ever told me, "Thank goodness you're here." And like a scene in a movie where there's sort of like a freeze frame, and it's sort of like a slowdown, and a music sting. Things kind of go like white. An emotional beat. I had that, but in real life, I just went up to my spot, and the other person said with such like not the other person, but my coworker just came up and said with such sincerity, like, "Thank goodness you're here," and like breathed a sigh of relief, and everything just kind of, I felt it mentally. This is the main reason why I'm talking about it. Not even necessarily the compliment, just the feeling of that, just the feeling of everything like froze for a second. Everything stopped. At least in my mind, it did. I was shocked. Well, not like externally, but not externally, but internally. No one's ever said that to me before. No one's ever expressed that about my presence. No, it's never happened before. But I tried to recompose myself really quick, and I was like, "That's great to hear. Thank you." I tried to play it off cool and charming and things like that. But yeah, that got to me. A little shock. Yeah. Another great moment, and I felt really good to end the day with this, is that there was a woman who came in, and she came up to me and asked, like, based on past experiences and things like that, we were wondering if you could find a waitress or ah, darn, there I go again, giving things away. My apologies. Just, if you could find an employee, there we go. This channel has 10 subscribers. There's only like 6 people who watch these videos per. If at that. It'll be like 3 people. So, I'll forgive myself this time. But coworker, the person was like, we had a poor experience previous time. The coworker didn't do so well with my mother, and we were wondering if you could find someone who would be very actually hospitable, very kind, sweet, understanding, patient. And because I'm gonna bring my mother in, and the mother has some like medical things going on, adult woman, and then like much elderly mother, elderly mother, and I was like, I sort of like, because I get to learn personalities and patience levels and temperaments and all that, and I sort of like took the menu, sort of like got close and kind of whispered like, I'll take care of that. There I go again. I'm thinking automatically, so so anyway, so just erase that from your brain. You didn't hear that. But so I took what I had with me, the paper I had with me, and sort of like got close, like, don't worry, I'll take care of that. And then I looked at my list, and I found the person with the temperament that I thought would best suit, and then went that way. And then some others were like, oh, what are you doing there? And I was like, this is a special request. And they're like, oh, okay. And then the person sat there, mother came in, one other person, they ate, and it was end of day. I was cleaning up, tidying up, and the person came up to me and was like, even said my name. Apparently the person asked the person I gave to help them, that person asked the person I gave to help them my name. And so I heard my name all of a sudden. And I turned around, and she was there, and she thanked me. And it was like super grateful, and was like, the person is so great, wonderful. We'll be coming back. We loved the person all the way. It was, thank you so much. Like, it was great to, and I was just like, oh, thank you. And I was just like, I'm so glad that it worked out. And then on top of that, the person I gave them to was like, thank you so much for giving me those people. That, I loved them and they loved me, and they're gonna come back and they're gonna ask for me, and they were so kind, so sweet, so like patient, gentle. It was like a whole thing, and genuine, like genuinely sweet, patient, gentle. Not like how the other person defines those things to avoid accountability and like get compliance and and all that, stay unchallenged. Anyway, when that other person has poisoned those words by disguising other words as those words to try and maintain control and unquestioned authority and dominance and all that, and to stay unquestioned, unchallenged, unaccountable, Yeah. When the other person uses those words, it's to try and manipulate and gaslight someone into not holding them accountable, letting them get away with whatever they want, and making sure that nothing could ever be done to like harm their ego or their pride or their sense of superiority. Essentially, it is a sense of superiority. Let's not mince words. Anyway, that was also part, that's for me to go through this time, process that, get that out. I'm not going to bog this down with that. It was a whole thing, but it's so interesting seeing genuine people living as long as I have, 90% of my life with someone who is essentially a poser. You know what a poser is? Yeah. It's an odd experience. But today reminded me of all the ways that, I like people. Just a general idea, the concept of people, other people. And not just because they thanked me or anything, but because of sort of like the story that came out of it, the feeling, the camaraderie, the personality types, the request, I don't know. It was... I'm not exactly sure how to condense it into words at the moment. But, yeah, it was really something. A strange feeling. Never felt that before. But, yeah. So, after I record this journal, I've got to go do that remote job and make some money. In terms of the potentially going homeless thing, that's still on the table, but some concessions were made. Food was cut. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be, on the wire. It's gonna be meals trimmed down. It's gonna be, but concessions were made to find a way to make it through this time. And it's especially because of those 2 days that I missed, because of the snow days. Like, that also contributed immensely to the situation. But, like, pray for me. Pray for me, for my soul, that I might make it. I really hope that I do. I don't know what voice I'm doing. I heard a guy today with a sort of like Minnesota, Wisconsin accent. Like, oh yeah, I came down. I'm a veteran. came down from. This is my visit. Oh, yeah, you got room for an injured veteran. Yeah, you got room for an injured veteran. It was perfect. I love hearing because where I am, there's a lot of tourists. There's a lot of tourists, and so, they come to these places to sample the local culture. And so I get to hear a lot of voices, like, yeah, going down to the IHAP, gonna order a stack of pancakes. Oh yeah, we came down to visit. We're in our camper. It's so great. And you get like New York accents, like, oh yeah. No, I'm stuck. I did the one, and now I'm stuck. Now I gotta reset myself, recompose. Let me think. Hey, Luigi. And so I was walking down. That's more New Jersey. Hey, what's the matter with you? New York. Trying to get into that New York accent. New York. No, I can't do it right now. Hey, Mario, what's the matter with you? I can't. Point is, New York accents, like Midwest, northern United States accents, southern. You get like you run the whole gambit. Run the whole gambit of voices. And yeah. You run the whole gambit of voices, and then you get to experience them, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Had I not done that accent, I could do a New York one, but now I've used up my bandwidth to do that one. It's funny because before I wanted to do that one, but I had done the New York one, and then I ended up getting stuck with the New York one. It's a whole thing. Anyway. Anyway. Yeah. I realized something about me, and it's not a great character trait, is I can get complacent really quickly. And I recognize it as a trait I inherited. And a trait I inherited from someone else. But now it's in me, and I gotta combat it. But I can get complacent really quickly. And the problem is that I can recognize that I'm complacent and still be complacent, which makes it even more dangerous. So I'm working through that. Working through being complacent. And just getting myself in gear. But these fellas, they want to work with me, but we gotta play ball. We gotta play ball. Oh, geez, Scotty. Oh no! See, now it's toying into the New York accent. Now it's morphin'. It's morphin' time. There it goes. Oh, yep. Now it's gone. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So, gotta work on not being complacent. But in addition to art videos, I've been studying and researching and looking into all kinds of things, like OC video, original character videos, world building videos, writing process, sketch videos, world building, sketching, brainstorming, OC videos, lore videos, talking about OCs, world building, lore, stories, art, comics, like your personal comics, world building. Yeah, I already said that. But yeah, I've been looking into all kinds of things. There we go. It's back. But yeah. That's pretty much all I got for today. I'm gonna go cook myself a salmon on the grill. And well, not really a grill, it's just a stovetop. And with some basic stuff, salt, pepper. out of Brussels sprouts and onion. Probably won't have those for a while. Work my remote job. Try and make some money through that. And, yeah. Go from there. Just feel like my life is falling apart, But I'm casting out all these little lifelines. Casting out. I don't even know what voice I'm doing anymore. I feel like my whole life is falling apart, and I gotta cast out all these lifelines just to keep myself from feeling like I'm sinking deep beneath the water. Cast out all these little lifelines, find all these little comforts, try and keep myself stable in this here cabin. So I don't, descend into madness. I know without a doubt that if I didn't do these journals, I would have gone mad. I would have gone mad a long time ago. And I mean that in a very serious way. If I didn't do these journals, I would be a madman by now. Just utterly and completely debased, just gone out the window with the whole kitchen sink. But, I guess one last thing. I was thinking to myself, I guess I'm a full-time, I'm stuck in it. It's just like habit. I'm going to keep doing the voice accidentally until I stop recording this. And then let it fade out. But, I realize, yeah, in a way, I'm a full-time content creator now. In a way, I'm full-time content creation. I post every day. That's a lot. Of course, it's more quantity over quality. But, I would say, these aren't the most edited videos in the world. Not the most edited videos in the world. Not particularly edited at all. But, it's what I'm capable of doing right now. Right now, maybe I could grow into more, edited, I guess you could say, like, thought out, structured content, a video every week, there's different types, like reaction videos. People can upload those every day. Reaction video, we react to this, react to that, even upload multiple in a day. And other people, they'll do like these videos where it's like once a week and they'll go over a structured topic, or once every 3 days, whatever their workflow is. If they do content full time, whatever their workflow, maybe they'll do like a video once a week, once a day, not once a day, but like every 3 days or something like that. Or if they're a streamer, that's their job, streaming. So every day. And they have editors that they work with and things like that. So every day, just like multiple video, that kind of thing. But for me, where I'm at right now, my flow really is just these low pressure, low stakes, kind of sloppy recordings. And, trying to, in camera, in audio, in recording edits, like putting music in the background, or just talking like this. I suppose in one way it helps me to be able to just speak and orate, because, I gotta be able to do these without stuttering too much. If I'm not going to be able to edit, I might as well get better at doing them in a more, get better at being able to get my thoughts out more concisely, practice it, start off slow, and then as I get more used to it, eventually they'll come out more quickly on their own as I'm able to just form a thought, form the sentences, get neater about it. This is basically speech practice, you could say. Basically speech practice. Now it's turning into a completely different voice. Now you got something more like what's his face from Cheers? What's his name? Of course, it disappears from my head soon as I go to think about it. Clavin. See, I messed up my whole flow. Cliff Clavin. There we. Yeah. The Celtics. They were named after the ancient Celtics who invented basketball. See, now it's changing on me. Actually named after the ancient Celtics. Yeah, I'm losing it. It's fine. But, as I do these more and get more practiced, and, I figure if I'm not going to be editing them, I might as well be able, almost like a streamer, like when you get the full stream thing, you're not going to edit out clips of just imagine I'm playing a video game in the background, and maybe one day there could be footage like that in the background, but, yeah. I say all that, and then I come up with an ending like that. But, the gist of it, if I'm not going to be editing these, if they're not going to be so polished in that way, I might as well get better at orating and being able to articulate my thoughts and to speak and to just flow with it and continue going. So, that's it for today. I'm going to end here and just get going with other things. All right. That's it.